Well, yes, indeed. Continuing our conversation on security across the country, well, now specifically in the southeast, we've got, as you've seen in that welcoming slide, His Excellency Dave Umahi, Governor of Ebonyi State, joining us this morning. Good morning, Your Excellency. Thank you for joining us today on the program.
Chamberlain, good morning. Thank you very much, and good morning to our viewers.
Well, yesterday the Southeast governors did meet, and then you came up with a communique which did speak to some of the killings, particularly that of the late Gulak. So could you tell us, reading through some of these, yes, there may be areas that were left out, but how significant or important was that meeting?
Well, thank you very much, Chamberlain. The meeting, to us is very, very important. And the first place is that Gulak is a very prominent Nigerian. And even if we're not prominent, every life is very sacred. So it's very important that we met and to let the family that we are pained so much to let our northern brothers and sisters know that we are very pained, especially when it's not from our region. And that's the essence of that meeting. And to assure them that the governors of Southeast will do everything possible, working with the governor of Imo State and the security agencies to unravel the killers.
So when some say that if the meeting was held largely to address that particular incident, why didn't it speak largely about or widely about some of the causative factors and then the killings happening in different parts of the state, the activities of security agencies who have been brought in Imo? Was it a strategy or just to leave those parts out or what?
If you went through the communique very well, you can understand that we addressed other aspects of insecurity in Southeast. We did address that, but the meeting essentially is to assure the family of Gulak and our northern brothers and sisters that we will bring justice, to the family of Gulak.
Still looking at that communique, which, like you said, largely spoke about that killing, I realized that in referring to those that carried out the attack, the term banditry was used. So I would like to know, is there like new information or new intelligence that warranted the use of that term bandit or banditry? Because before now, we've heard terms like gunmen or known gunmen and the rest. So why bandit or banditry this time around?
Well, if the terms for insecurity in Southeast is unknown gunmen, I think that to further expose that is banditry, activities, because no group has ever come out to say we are responsible for this insecurity, for the killings. So we are safer to use that word until any group or groups of people or organization will come out and say, yes, we are responsible for the insecurity in Southeast.
This is different from the bandits that we hear in states like Zamfara, Katsina, Niger, and the rest?
Bandit is bandit, maybe they're in categories by the reason of the weight of their weapons and method of operations, but criminality is criminality.
Well, you also said that you support the governor of Imo State, and yesterday he was speaking about this essentially being a political killing. Now there are different perspectives to this. You have the governor of Rivers saying maybe it's too early to come to that conclusion, and we've seen the statement and the pictures that the police put out on the same day that that killing took place, saying that they have gotten, or at least apprehended, the term was actually neutralized, those who carried out the attack. So in terms of aligning with the governor of Imo State, are you aligning with the this is political, or allowing the police to go through with the investigation and come out whether this is political or not?
I think one of the problems of insecurity in this country, I continue to say, is fake news, social media. Many a times people sit in the comfort of their rooms and then dish out fake information, like the ones they dish about the governor of Imo State, and said he said this, he said that. I think the proper thing, in my opinion, is what the governor of Imo State says, that the security agencies will unravel, the mystery behind the killing of Goodluck. And I think that's what he said, and this is our agreement.
Well, the governor of Imo State, Your Excellency, actually spoke yesterday, where he says that, in fact, the term he used was that it appears that this is a clear case of political killing. Those were his terms. This is not fake news. This was what he said just yesterday. Hopefully we'll get to play that to you. So is that the one you're referring to, or something else?
When you're confronted with a problem, you probably have, a number of, opinions. It doesn't make that opinion, if he said so, the right opinion or the wrong opinion. But the most important, point is that he has directed the security agencies, to swing into action, to unravel the killers. That is the most important aspect of it. He could form an opinion, and is entitled to form an opinion, but the opinion is not superior to his directive to the security agencies.
Well, I'm looking at that communique as well. I'm wondering if the item 7 that talks about allowing security agencies to continue with their investigations and their assurances that all those who have a hand in the brutal murder of Alhaji Ahmed Goodluck and other killings is a way of saying that the Southeast Governors Forum does not agree that the police has actually killed those who are involved in the killing of Ahmed Goodluck.
Well, how do we, come to such a conclusion? When even the governor of Imo State, where it happened, didn't come out with such opinion. The opinion of governor of Imo State is very clear, and our directives and our intentions and our positions are also very clear. We want the police to do their job. If police had done some killings, well, it's not to our knowledge, and even if it comes to our knowledge, we are not police people. We don't do security work, in terms of the roles of the police. We are chief security officers that depend on security agencies, to do our work. So I think this is our position.
So does that then mean that the governors are not aware of any communication from the police saying that they had neutralized those persons who assassinated late Alhaji Goodluck?
Well, even if they did, they have not. We would have read it on pages of is it newspapers or again, social media. And you, as a leader, you don't take action based on what you see on social media. There is a proper channel whereby the security agencies with us at the various states do communicate to us in writing, the security report. Until we get such security report, we will not say that this is the position of the police.
So, Your Excellency, assuming without conceding that the police haven't communicated to the governors who are the chief security officers in their states, is it a good strategy or methodology to go to the press with those comments that they've neutralized those persons who were involved in this? They show their images and everything without letting the governor know first?
You want me to fall to the same temptation that we keep saying, that even if there is, a mistake, every human being is bound to make mistakes in the course of his duties or her duties. And we come out in the open to start criticizing them. There is what in engineering that is called self-cleansing velocity. And that is a mechanism whereby you reinvent yourself. where you have made mistake. And I think that this will happen when the police has concluded their investigation. They will be able to correct themselves if they made such statement.
Well, it's not to let you fall to anything. It's just that there are several people who are confused about what really the situation is, because if the police say they've neutralized all those persons, they showed the images, and then they've not communicated to the chief security officers, assuming that's the case, and then the Southeast Governors Forum says that, well, yes, they condemned the brutal assassination, and here, they're saying that they want them to get to the bottom of the matter. It does suggest as though, even though they say one thing, those who are behind it, or those who are really behind it, have not been apprehended. Will it be wrong for people to assume that?
Well, I don't know what else to say about this, but the important thing to say is that the police has not finished with their investigation. And I said that even if they were hasty in making a statement, even if they were hasty, the word is even if they were hasty, that we can't take on them, publicly until they finish their investigation. And part of their report is maybe to correct themselves if they were hasty in making statements.
Okay, that then suggests that, well, some errors have been made, may have been made in a haste, and since they say it's political, then because the people who were neutralized, they say they were gunmen, the communique equally underscored that they were gunmen. So these are not the political persons, quote unquote. So perhaps the public will then be looking forward to see, so who are those political persons behind this? Is that right, if that is the expectation?
I won't tell the parts that we didn't pass through. So the point remains that the police has indicated, that they're into investigation, of the matter. And so I think that we should leave it to the police, to conclude whether it's political assassination or it is a mistaken identity, or whatever is the motive behind such evil act. It will be unraveled. And God is alive, and the God, will definitely, assist us in this trying period.
I think there's been another issue, besides this killing, is the aftermath, which is, the responses from various groups. Some have given out threats and the rest. And I see that the Southeast governors recognized this, because this was a part of the communique issued, saying we thank brothers from the North for their understanding in the face of this unfortunate murder of their son. You also said in the final part that the firm urges the members of the public to exercise restraint and allow the security agencies to continue with their investigations. Clearly, you recognize the tendency of this to, heighten the tensions we have seen in recent times. So following that meeting, are you confident that some of the things you put out in the communique, some of the actions that are currently ongoing, will be enough to douse those tensions?
Well, I must tell you that we were not hasty in contacting the Northern governors in this respect. We had conflicting reports, from social media, and we wanted to know the exact, truth, so that we will be able to communicate with them. But before now, they have done quite a lot of work for the unity of this country. You know that even in the North or in the South, it's not everybody that is happy with government. And so such elements may want to capitalize on these ugly incidents, and then begin to foment trouble against, the Nigerian society. So this is, the reason why we had to thank them in the first place. And I believe that since till now, we don't know the exact, motive of the killing and who did the killing. We also call them, from today to say, thank you very much. This is our position. And unfortunately, we've not been able to get, a definite report. And when we get working with security agencies, we'll be able to get back to you. But be assured that your son will receive justice.
Well, You know, earlier we spoke to the deputy governor of Benue State, and he, just as several other citizens there, have been speaking about them wanting to hear the president speak about the killings going on directly in Benue State. And now the Southern governors have spoken about the killing that occurred in the region a few days ago. Would you expect to hear maybe other governors in other regions speak about killings going on in that concerns, because some persons are saying they want the leadership, perhaps the Fulani leadership, to speak about what some of these herdsmen are giving them a bad name. Would it be out of place if the leadership of those groups were to speak up and say, look, this is not right, this should stop?
Well, this is a very delicate issue. In the first place, for the unity and peace of this nation, it is very wrong to assume that the headers alone are Fulani people. It is very wrong. It is very wrong to tag a particular ethnic group, with, any kinds of insecurity or any kind of, character that is against the state of, a nation. This is very important. I am not president. I don't know how presidency is being run. Every organization, the office of the governor, office of president, they have their own methods, But one thing that is very significant, and I take home, is that the president has directed that anyone with AK-47 that is unauthorized, that is not security agent, should be brought down. And this is very important for the governors. And so if you are a header, whether you are an Igbo header or you are Fulani header or Hausa header or a Jaw header, and you have AK-47 and you are coming to my place, even if it is stick, I will use to bring you down. That is the order of the president. And so a header with stick, we be having confrontation with the natives. You cannot pass through my farmland. And this is very important. I think where this issue of insecurity vis-a-vis headers is where they start to carry AK-47, some of them, especially those from outside the country. And so this is it. And I've taken that home, that no header will come to my state with AK-47. It will be war. If you come to my state with AK-47, we will confront you with everything that is possible, with sticks, with sand, everything that is possible. We are no longer going to depend on security agencies to say you have to stop people coming with AK-47. No, the people have to do something to stop it. It's a presidential order.
Well, Your Excellency, isn't that all the more reason why they should speak up? Because, yeah, just as you said, you can't tag an ethnic group because of a few people who are giving them a bad name. The same way you have people who talk on speaking about Niger Delta militants. So shouldn't they then speak up saying, no, this is not who we are? All of those who are carrying out those killings, they don't define who we are, such that everyone will then understand what is going on, that it is not a tacit admittance.
Well, it's not until all of them, come out to speak about it. The governor of Kano State was the first person in the neck, and I was there, who openly opposed. The northern governors have also done that. They have been speaking against banditry. You know the position of governor of Kaduna State against, on the issue of negotiating with bandits. And he continued to maintain that bandits are bandits. And so I don't know how else they're supposed to speak. Is it when they speak and they call it Fulani? So this is what is widening our differences, to begin to tag certain ills of the society with, a particular ethnic group. And I want the leaders of this country to know this and know that we should be emphasizing things that will unite us instead of things that will, divide us. This is very important.
Your Excellency, the statement ascribed to the police, the statement from the police titled, "Police have neutralized the killers of Ahmed Golak," ascribed to SP Bala Elkanah, police PRO, in Imo State says in paragraph 5, 3 AK-47 rifles, 1 pistol, 5 AK-47 magazines with 92 rounds of live ammunition and criminal charms were recovered. The assailants were identified as members of the proscribed IPOB and ESN. Are you aware of this?
I think we've discussed this matter, and I said, if they said so, and in another statement they say they made a statement that tends to undermine the previous statement, we should leave it to them until they come out with a written report, and then we can act.
If this were to be true, do you think it is rushed?
Since it's not said to be the truth, I wouldn't have an opinion for now.
Now, and then speaking about the IPOB matter, the sit-at-home order in the Southeast, I mean, Ebonyi State had given a position previously, and then eventually there was another statement which they said, look, people have a right to choose to do whatever they want to do. And then some thought that the state government backtracked on its previous stance. Is that the case?
Let me tell you something. We have a June 12th, for our fallen hero, Moshood Abiola. We have a date set aside for the security agencies that died. There is absolutely nothing in having a day set aside as a people to mourn our dead, but it depends on the motives. Because such a day set aside is supposed to be a day of reflection, that we wouldn't pass through the path we passed through before. That in every misunderstanding, we have to sit down and dialogue. And there is no region, I continue to say, that doesn't have one thing or the other they feel that are not being well treated by the federal government. And who is federal government? It's all of us put together. And so it's not a question of backtracking or whatever, it's the method that adopted. If the leaders of Southeast had agreed, and I'm sure that they will agree in future, and we will be willing to set aside 30th of May every year, to honor and remember the dead. But the significance of that, day, if set aside, is for each and every one of us to reflect and to also say, should we have done it, differently? Should we have consulted widely before we go into that one? Yes, we were being killed, we were being maltreated, but maybe there could have been an alternative. But it's done and it's done. And the man who led us has said, look, there should be no second war. And that is where we are. Now, coming to the issue of, my saying that everybody has a right, yes. What we are against in Southeast, we cannot ask somebody who doesn't want to, open the bank that he must open the bank. Because first of all, people are afraid of their lives. And remember, in a war situation, everything is set aside. It's only life that matters. Businesses, properties that are set aside, they are worthless. It's only life that matters. So people, in the first place are afraid of their life. Not necessarily that they were going to obey the order, but they were afraid of being confronted. And so for me to say that if you are not opening your shop, because we had a number of requests from some leaders, from market people, and say, look, we've been doing this and doing, family prayers, and we beg that we won't be able to open our shops. And we say, so be it. That is the dynamism of governance.
So does that then suggest, Your Excellency, that moving forward, should they choose to repeat the sit-at-home, which they've done for some time, there will be no further future threats? They'll just allow them, as long as they go about any activity peacefully?
Yeah, I don't think there should be activities this morning, have resumed in the entire, Southeast. I don't think there is any further threats in that regard.
They choose these dates next year, for instance. Will there be any reason for the governors to threaten anybody?
The governors never threatened anybody. We are rather saying those that want to move about, you must allow them to move about. because even in any nation where you have public holidays, people decide what to do. You can't tell anybody what to do. The freedom of right is very important. And that is the position. The position of the governors is that you have the right to sit at home. Even today, that we don't have such a threat, you have a right to sit at home. And a lot of Nigerians, sit at home. And that is, another issue altogether. So nobody is going to harass anybody who decides to sit at home at any point in time. But we are saying we have the security agencies to protect your rights. That is the position.
So if this is what the people want, because over the years, we've seen them comply with this directive when they issue it, what's wrong with the state governors then saying, okay, well, we recognize what you people want. Sit peacefully if you want.
The truth is that, like I said before, that meaningful Southeast people are beginning to say, look, even beyond the issue of sit at home, that there is a need to set aside a date, to honor, our brothers and sisters who were, murdered during the Civil War. And there is nothing wrong with doing that. And if it comes before the governors, we will give a consideration, and then put conditionalities. And one of the conditionalities is that if anybody decides to do otherwise, you must allow the person to exercise his or her rights.
So are you talking about a public holiday or something just for Southeast states, or something you're trying to escalate to the federal government level? Because you referenced June 12, for example. Now, June 12 is a national public holiday. There's been an amendment. So what's the thinking around this day for the Southeast and the people of the Southeast?
The National Day set aside, to remember those who were, killed, both on our side and side of the federal. It's still, I think, 15th of January or thereabouts, every year. It's still subsisting. But this one in particular is that, we had defenseless little children. We have pregnant mothers. We have old men and women that were murdered, who were not part of whatever agitation and who had no insight of the reasons, for declaring the war. And, they were not part of, the agitation, or so to say. So we are saying, look, we would like to have, a public holiday, for them, and I think that's what you're asking, and I think that's what you impute that the people are asking. And we say that if it comes to us from the leaders, that we're going to give proper attention to that. And the tendency is that, speaking for myself alone, that we grant that day as a public holiday in the South.
Your Excellency, when you say from the leaders, which leaders specifically? Are you talking about the Ohanese, or is it the same persons who championed this particular sit at home?
The leaders in the first place are the youths. The youths are our leaders. The Ohanese, the cultural leadership, the political leaders, the stakeholders. It does not mean that all of them must come together, because a good idea will be imputed in one person by God Almighty. And then when it comes, and you definitely know it's divine, you do something with it. It doesn't mean that everybody must come together. But there must be a proper request for this in one of our meetings. And I think it's already going to be deliberated upon in our next meetings, Governors Forum of Southeast, with our leaders.
Just to be candid, Governor, I imagine what you're grappling with. You are an elected governor, the executive governor of a state, and then you have a group giving orders from time to time. I wonder how that sits with you, because my colleague earlier asked, so what if this order is given? Who knows? Maybe another order is given, a different order is given for next week, and you know how these things go. It might be incremental. So how are you approaching this? I mean, trying to handle some of these orders coming from a group that is not elected, as it were, the way you were elected by the people?
The only person that gives governors orders is Mr. President, within the limit of the Constitution, the orders of the court. Besides this, nobody else gives a constituted authority of elected governor orders. And this is very clear. So we do not understand the order you talk about.
Well, it's the same order we're speaking about, the sit-at-home order, which was given by IPOB. And I'm questioning how you are handling this, because a lot of people are emotionally invested in this. I mean, you saw how people aligned with that sit-at-home order. And I'm wondering, what if the order tomorrow is different from the group? How are you handling this as the governor?
Because I do not recognize an order. I recognize an intention. That, some of our people, feel so sad about what happened. And I think majority of the population of Southeast never witnessed the war. So, they're imagining. So it is in the place of those that witnessed the war to tell us stories about the war and let us know that we shouldn't, go towards repeating the same kind of approach we adopted to have waged the war. 5 million Igbos were killed in that war. We wouldn't want a repeat of that. So we don't want anything other. There is a constitutional government in Southeast. And so no matter how emotional you are about something, you have to succumb to the constitutional government. Until the constitution is changed, we have only one constitution. We have only one governor in each of the states of Southeast.
Well, speaking about many who are not happy, there's been several images circulating about the conduct of security agencies in Imo State. And there are many who just feel that there are some extrajudicial killings going on there. They're not happy with the way they are being handled. What is the thinking of the governors about that operation and how the agencies are handling it?
Well, I wouldn't know which one is the truth again. The social media is a very terrible situation. Somebody told me, one of my staff told me that anything you don't see from channel, don't regard it. And, we comment the print media and the electronic media, in this regard. But the one menace is still the social media, the fake news, the online bloggers, who are bent on destroying this country. And that's what I think the security agencies, at the national level and state level should look at. Somebody sits at the comfort of his house and dish out images. There was a time about 3-4 months back that they brought what happened in Senegal, and they detailed it and then said that it happened, in Ebonyi State. It took the efforts of, governor of Kaduna State to send something to America, where they detailed it and told him where they came from, because it was capable of destroying the relationship, we have with our brothers in the north. And so we wouldn't know exactly the truth about what is happening in Muslim. But this is what I have to say. From what is happening in Ebonyi State, where the youths go to attack the army, the police, burn down INEC offices, burn down police, headquarters and offices. And when these people confront the security agencies, they kill the security agents. Sometimes security agencies will kill them. We'll be able to profile them. And we saw that they are not unknown gunmen. They are our brothers, mostly from Southeast, most of them from Ebonyi State, others from Southeast. They are never outside the country. So when we talk about good gunmen, known gunmen, in Ebonyi State, they are known, our youth. And that's why I came up with a number of programs to say, look, whatever is your grievances, we have, employment to give you. We have empowerment to give you. We have empowerment to give to our wives. Come out of criminality, and this is very important. And one aspect, Chamberlain, I want you to notice that in all this violence, IPOB will come out and say, look, we are very peace, people, our approach for agitation is non-violent. And I want to tell you, truly, that a lot of criminals, the kidnappers, the cultists, the armed robbers, they have cashed into this. And it's safer for them to say that the IPOB. But a criminal is a criminal. And my position is that if you confront an army man and you're with AK-47, you want to kill him, he should deploy his rule of engagement, and he has to bring you down. This is very important, self-defense. So this is my position. Let the youth put down their guns, their violent nature, and then we'll be able to look at, whatever fundamental, rights of our people that are being violated by security agencies. I will not say that when you deploy security agencies to a place that they will not do beyond their call of duty. It is not possible to categorically say that. But when you have infested, firewood, the ants will definitely come over there. So let our people come out to speak out that the unknown gunmen are not really unknown gunmen. They are our young men and women who will defend our land tomorrow. They should stop being killed. They should stop giving themselves to be killed. And there are 2 factors responsible, 3 factors responsible for this. Is people being brainwashed. They don't even know what they're agitating for. Then people that, go to talisman and they, get all kinds of juju that no gun can kill them. And yet guns are killing them. And then you have the hard drug. These are 3 combinations that are destroying our land.
Well, we will not air gory pictures such that we don't offend the sensibilities of the viewers. And so, but that doesn't mean that some of those things, in the event that it happens, it won't mean that it didn't happen because we didn't air that owing to the rules of broadcast. But from whatever information that you have and governors have, for instance, yourself as Chief Security Officer, you equally rub minds with your colleagues. You just had the Saudi governors meeting. So are you happy with the conduct of security agencies who have rules of engagement in their operations in the area?
Well, I wouldn't start speaking about, a place I don't have jurisdiction over, but in Ebonyi State, I'm happy with the security agencies, their conduct. And the security agency in Ebonyi State has not even gone out. They have not even gone out to hunt for these criminals. But they always, they're confronted, they have such a courage to come to a police station, to go to military checkpoints, and they be killing them. And they have to return fire for fire. And this is, beyond the culture of our people. Our people are not known for this. And so I'm happy with the security agencies in my state. I'm happy with their conduct. And this is very important. I've done everything possible to educate these children. Let me give you an example of yesterday. I heard Nnamdi Kanu, rightly or wrongly, when he came out on broadcast and said, look, you must not deploy violence in the sit-at-home yesterday. You must not, destroy any property in Southeast or anywhere. You must not attack people. I heard him. But yesterday in Ebonyi State, we have casualties from the headers attack in Benue State. But those victims are our people that are resident in Benue State, that are citizens of Benue State. And we have our hospital filled up. And we had to beg doctors, to come and attend to it. A lot of them, very terrible sights to see, And then, you now have this people confronting them, burning their vehicles, threatening to kill them. Of course, the security changes had to be deployed. And on sighting them, there was exchange of fire. And then in another place, you also have the same thing. Even when you have public holidays, when you even in war zone, you have the medical people, the service provider that are given access, to go for people who would need such services. So these are not things that we like. So let our youth, let our people stop confronting the security agencies, and then we will be able to look into whatever. In the first place, if they are not confronting security agencies, they are not burning properties of government, there will be no need for this deployment, of security agencies. And when they are deployed, you can't tell them how to do the job if they are confronted with that. A lot of them have lost their lives. They have children, they have mothers, they have fathers, they have families. So we have to also know that the lives of security agencies are also, the lives of our brothers and sisters. After all, when we took a statistics of those who have lost their lives, security agencies, even far away River State, some of them are Ebonyi people. So we are killing ourselves, and it should stop.
Just came out for me quickly. Now, when you referenced the attack in Benue State, earlier on, when we were speaking with the Deputy Governor of Benue State, he also referenced that attack, saying at some point they weren't sure where was Benue, where was Ebonyi, and that speaks to, border issues and how clear-cut these borders are. So what is the thinking in that area? Because I think it's important to have, clear-cut demarcation such that the government knows, which one is my responsibility, which one is yours, so there won't be any cross-border issues. Is there any thinking in that line?
If anybody said that, that is half-truth. We have boundary problem with Benue, but we have clear case of where we have buffer zone. Nobody is living there. These are, we have the Igbos living in River State. We have Igbos living in Akwa Ibom, in Edo State, in Benue State, and so on and so forth. It doesn't make them the citizens of those places. They are citizens of where they are living. And so these people have been living there. They have their schools there. They are paying their taxes and everything. So that will be half true if anybody says so. These people are residents of Benue State. I have said that there will be no attack of herders on Ebonyi State. We definitely confront such attack. This is not boasting. We will not allow herders to come and kill Ebonyi people any longer. This is very important. Nobody sent them to come and kill anybody. And so we ask the Benue people to defend themselves. Defend themselves. This is very important. If you don't defend yourself and you continue to blame the president, the killing will continue. But until you make up your mind with your people to defend yourself, then the killing will continue. So when you said we've made up our minds to defend ourselves.
Okay, just quickly to get clarification, when you said the youth should come and drop their arms and guns, is that an amnesty you're calling for?
Definitely. Some of them don't also have arms, but their minds has been truncated, and we're debriefing them. We've had, stakeholders meeting of all the clans in Ebonyi State. It took us about 10 days to do that. We've deployed religious leaders to go around the local government areas. We have NSAS. We have a program to employ 3,000, of our youth into civil service. We have a program going on now to absorb 3,000 people to empower them to do businesses of their choice. This is 6,000. We are going to advertise for our new medical university for employment. We're going to advertise for airports, for the mall. So there's so much that is available in our state that should take, use out of crime. But in the words of my brother Rufai, he said the herder prefers to kidnap and get money than to do the normal herding business. And so we need to engage in talking to the youth and letting them know that criminality does not pay, and that what you thought protects you in terms of juju does not protect you. Because the man that is coming after you, when you confront him, may not have anything to do with juju. And the way juju works is that if you're a juju man, then the higher one can work on you. But it's like if there's a magnet and there is no metal on your body, so it can magnet. So these are issues. And we are also going after the native doctors. One of them in our state that kidnapped 2 people and buried them alive. This is not the sort of thing we want to see. They are also being deceived by these native doctors, giving them things they believe that will not allow any security man to kill them. We are very much worried.
All right, Your Excellency, we have to go, even though we can't get your response on what the Imo State Governor said at some point, what he said, but about 60–70% of those carrying out the killings are not Igbos. But we need to thank you very much indeed for your time this morning, His Excellency Dave Umahi.
That may be in Imo State. That may be in Imo State, but I'm talking about Ebonyi State.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your time this morning, Governor of Ebonyi State and Chairman of Southeast Governors Forum. We're back in a moment.
I appreciate it.
All right.